Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is doing okay. And thank you for watching our interview with Kevin and all of the great comments and emails that I've received this morning. We're glad you're enjoying that. We really enjoyed it and had fun too, and was really happy that he gave us the privilege of sharing that, with everyone. And that being said, Kevin, you may not want to watch this. It may trigger you, because I know some of us are triggered because it's like, oh, good Lord. And I want to thank our paralegal friend in Illinois for the summary here that was in the newspaper and from the court and stuff. And so I'm just going to read her comment. So thank you very much for that. The outcome of the sentencing of the two Crystal Lake elders for failing to report a CSA matter was very disappointing, to say the least. Yeah. Following is information relative to their sentencing, as well as a brief summary of the local Northwest Herald newspaper article of March 26, 2022. Last week, Jehovah's Witness elders Michael Pinkava and Colin Scott were found guilty of a Class A criminal misdemeanor charge of violating the Abused and Neglected Child Reporting Act, and on Friday, March 25th, were sentenced to 1 year of court supervision, 10 hours of community service, and $250 in fines for failing to report the CSA. Now, before I read her comment, I'm going to read mine. This is beyond disappointing. This is disingenuous. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Like when we were talking with Kevin, how do you wrap your mind around this? And my comment would be is, if I had a chance to talk to any of the JWs, I think I would ask them, how do you feel about one of your shepherds, one of your elders that is supposed to be protecting the congregation and especially your children? How do you feel that two of them were just convicted for hiding CSA and the abuse went on for 12 years? How do you parents feel that these elders are getting up on the platform and giving parts, talking about how great, your organization is and how great it is to be a Jehovah's Witness, and just like Letts said years ago.
Another way we can contribute to the oneness, rejecting false stories that are designed to separate us from Jehovah's organization. As an example, think about the apostate-driven lies and dishonesties that Jehovah's organization is permissive toward pedophiles. I mean, that is ridiculous, isn't it? If anybody takes action against someone who would threaten our young ones and takes action to protect our young ones, it's Jehovah's organization. We reject outright such lies.
No, it's a fact. It's a fact. And this conviction proves that. It proves that. So, that's what I would want to ask all the JWs as parents. How do you feel that these elders are not protecting your kids? Oh, I forget. That's your responsibility as parents. Oh, good Lord. All right, I'm going on. I digress. All right, her comment. The punishment hardly fits the crime, considering this little girl suffered over 12 years of continually worsening CSA by her father, while also being threatened with death for reporting the abuse, and that the victim will live with the effects of that abuse for the rest of her life. I totally agree. And that's what we were talking, with Kevin yesterday, or day before yesterday. The article went on to state that these men have served as Jehovah's Witness elders for decades, that both were mandated reporters since 2002 and in a position of trust in the community. That is big, bold print, and that is the issue of all of this. They are in a position of trust in the community. If you want to play clergy, then act like clergy. You have to protect the children. Oh, I go on. and failed the child in question by not reporting the abuse, and that both elders plan on appealing their convictions. Well, at this point, I think it is in the higher source, creator, whoever you want to believe in, God. I think it is in their hands now of what's going to happen to these people, because all they got was a slap on the wrist. This is nothing. This is nothing compared to what that little girl does or is going to have to live with. Sorry. I just get so angry. Talk about, I tell Kevin not to listen to this and get triggered, and then I'm triggered. Oh. But see, how does this look to the world? Do you think these prosecuting attorneys and these courts are gonna be wanting to go easy on, Watchtower and these CSA cases? Do you think Wisconsin now is gonna be like, wow, look what happened? Why should we spend millions of dollars investigating this when nothing is going to be done to the convicted criminals? Pinkeva's attorney said it is possible to act in good faith and still be wrong. Yeah, ain't that the truth? He had no benefit in this. He did not aid the abuser. Scott's attorney stated that it was pure speculation to say that even if the elders reported the abuse when the girl was 6 years old, that the abuse would have stopped. My comment: I think this is such an absurd statement. I agree. This is totally absurd. I would believe that yes, the abuse would have stopped if it had been reported, because the abuser would be out of the picture and in jail. Yeah, he'd still be, he would be serving the 50 years, only, not from recently, but from back then. Before sentencing Friday, Pinkeva stated that he believed the advice he received from Jehovah's Witness World Headquarters in New York in 2006, that he was not required to report the CSA to authorities to be trustworthy and accurate, and that he had earnest trust and faith in God and the Judicial Committee. And further went on to state, I never acted in bad faith. Now I'm going to put the link down below to our website. And there was a few more documents. There was a newspaper article from the other day. Also, some letters and statements that were in the documents, or recent court documents, and we had mentioned it in our discussion with Kevin, and we hadn't had a chance to read that yet, but there's actually the original Judicial Committee notes, and of course they've redacted the names of the elders that signed that, but trigger warning, it's infuriating. I truly believed I was following the law of Illinois. I am so sorry for any suffering in this utterly sad situation. It's a little too late. Too little and too late. I never became a conspirator to cover up abuse of a child. Then what in the world do you call it? Pinkeva also talked about his being a teacher at a local Crystal Lake Elementary School for 35 years, where he safeguarded and considered his students as his family. But yet the children in your congregation don't get the same, safeguarding. What a hypocrite. What a hypocrite. Side note, Pinkeva was also voted Teacher of the Year at some point and was interviewed by Oprah Winfrey. Yeah. Oh yeah, some Teacher of the Year. Pinkeva also went on to state that being a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses and following the faith has taught him how to love and respect, and has led him on a path of being a good member of society. But your moral compass is broken. And I just want to mention, in our discussion with Kevin, I hope our viewers realize that, we never knew this. And this is what has been so good with Kevin being a Freemason, is because we've had a lot of discussions and we have found a lot of information that we did not know before. Not that he's given away any secrets, but, the thing about the moral compass and the square, and it's about us as individuals. It's not the symbol and, the Freemason agenda and all that. It's about our personal compass. And it's like, that was a really interesting point, and I'm glad he kept bringing that out, because, your moral compass is in here. And, I mean, oh, yeah, I digress. Colin Scott appeared at the sentencing hearing on Friday via Zoom and talked about his history with Jehovah's Witnesses, which began at birth, and his travels to different states and to Colombia. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Supporting the faith and building kingdom homes, and described himself as a law-abiding citizen, loving father, grandfather, and husband of 66 years before his wife died in 2020. He stated that Jehovah's Witnesses is an excellent way of life led by principles in the Bible. Note, from information I have received about Colin Scott, I would tend to believe that this statement about his character is not entirely true. Thank you, sweetie. The article was unclear as to who made the following statement, but the newspaper article went on to say that when you hear a child is being abused, you don't call legal. You do the right thing. Sound familiar? Pinkeva was a teacher for 35 years. He had been trained. He knew better. Exactly, and that's what his brother kept saying. He knew better. He was a teacher. He knew he was a mandatory reporter. The state attorney told Judge Gerhardt that a message needed to be sent to Jehovah's Witnesses that it is not okay to not report child abuse, and that these elders may have warned other congregants to not leave their children alone with the victim's father, Hernandez Pedraza, but these elders did nothing to help the girl or alert the community. Darn right. Pinkeva's attorney stated that Pinkeva had a moment to decide what to do, and he followed the advice of attorneys. And that right there is the crux of the matter, because his moral compass was broken at that point. When you choose a publishing company, a corporation, a cartel over your own moral compass, your own conscience, you're not fit to be an elder. And that for prosecutors to say that Pinkeva should have known what to do is arrogance on their part and a vast understatement. The Northwest Herald newspaper article reported that Colin Scott's attorney, Terry Eckel, stated, however, that there are people in the world who are criminals and they commit crimes. These two also. Then there are basic, decent, good people who may have committed a criminal act. He described Scott as an honorable member of society for almost 89 years, and that he is a hardworking man who supported his family, volunteers, visited sick church members in the hospital and in nursing homes, and that Scott did not contemplate this would cause harm. How can you possibly think this would not cause harm? This little child, she is, irreversibly, hurt and damaged for the rest of her life. And you didn't think that would cause harm? Oh. He never intended to violate the statute, and that today Scott would handle such a situation differently. Well, we mentioned how we've talked to some of these PMO elders, and Kevin mentioned in our discussion, how do you know they're not already on the list? So, I hope all of you elders that do watch this video understand that if you are guilty of this in the past, you know what you need to do. Get your moral compass back on path and go report these abuse cases, because you may already be on a list. Just know that many of us are working behind the scenes to get these state attorneys these names of these elders and these cases and telling them that they have been hiding it and they are guilty. And like we mentioned, this case now sets a precedence, because now it's going to be easier to get all of these elders and bishops and all of this convicted. Scott's attorney also stated that because of Scott's age and health, that should be a factor in not being sent to jail, and that Scott became part of the judicial committee after the decision was made by Pinkava not to report the abuse. Well, that's why that letter from the judicial committee, I'd like to see whose all signatures is on there, because if Scott's on there, then he's a liar. Yeah. I love how he throws him under the bus. Kind of looks like Scott was pointing the finger at Pinkava and bailing on his buddy. I wonder how Pinkava feels about that. And then she says she's going to email me the article. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate it very much. And it will go in the Beast. It will go in the Beast, because now that we have this case documents and histories, guess what? We can share it, with all of these attorneys and state attorneys. And this gives us ammo now. This gives us ammo. And speaking of ammo, I'm going to put a link down below to Jane Doe's recent video. Please go watch it. Oh my goodness. Did she find something? It's like, wow. How can these governing body members possibly think they can hold on to members when they keep just messing up? They do more damage than any of us could. So please go watch her latest video. She has a clip from one of these governing body clowns and shows this is right from their Bible. Jehovah's Witnesses, this is right from your Bible. And also, I want to mention Goat-like Personality. He has done a video, premiered March 25th. It's called JW Spokesperson Claims Jehovah's Witnesses Do Not Baptize Children. Oh, good Lord. This just gave us evidence now to show the lying hypocrites they are. Jonas, thank you very much. This was a great find. I would like to add one little thing, though.
And your young ones, we've been entreating you, you've got to get that clear. Especially as you get older, the only way you're getting through this storm, the great one, is your relationship with God. Your personal relationship, just like everybody else, unless you're a toddler. We know how Jehovah will sanctify them, but as you get older, you are responsible. Remember the nice demo? We've mentioned that before. Well, I'm not ready to get baptized. Okay, let's hold off on your driver's license. What? I'm 16, what are you talking about? I'm ready, I know I'm ready. Yeah, you're ready for a driver's license, but you're not ready to dedicate your life. Explain that one to heaven.
And that question is how? How do we get a firm hold on the real life? To attain the real life, you must be a baptized Christian servant of Jehovah. To attain the real life, you must be a baptized Christian servant of Jehovah God.
That was from the 2015 Regional Convention, the last talk on Sunday afternoon from Antmo. And he is talking about, unless you are a toddler, you need to get baptized, because you can't get into the new system on the coattails of your grandfather, and your family, history. You have to get baptized. And then he mentions, if you want your driver's license and you're still not baptized. And we have many, many pieces of evidence and examples of how they do baptize children.
Fazer parte da organização de Jeová? Sua resposta, por favor.
Sim.
Sua resposta clara e afirmativa a essas perguntas indica que você se qualifica para o batismo como ministro ordenado de Jeová Deus. Façamos uma oração.
Não precisa ver se já está lá. Vocês ouviram?
Entra.
Mal de temporada.
Põe a mão no nariz. Segura aqui. Vou te afundar, tá? Tá preparado? Pode ir?
They do baptize children. The Beast is full of stuff where they're baptizing them as young as 5 to 7. That's not a child? Liars. Liars. So like I said, I'm going to put a link down below to all of this, and thank you for watching, and you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye.